tonight the Angels welcome the Casper Rockies in town after taking 3 of 4 from the Billings Mustangs over the weekend. The Angels, of course, won last night 9-7. Of course, a very interesting evening for the Angels as they headed into the top of the ninth with a 9-2 lead. They brought in closer Mitch Arnold to finish out the game after Mitch had not thrown in 5 days. Mitch, the most feared closer in the Pioneer League, struggled and gave up 5 runs. Interestingly enough, in the papers this morning, Tom Kochman took the blame, saying that he had not worked Mitch enough and that he would never do that again, letting him go 4 or 5 days without throwing. Jason Cox did come in, however, to close out the game, pick up the save, and the Angels moved to 22-9 on the year. Idaho Falls also won, so they kept pace at 6 games behind. Ogden as well won and stayed 8 games behind. Casper, the team that we welcome tonight, lost to Helena and fell to 9 games back at 12-17. The Angels still smattered all over the leaderboard of the Pioneer League. Nate Sutton and Sean Rodriguez still maintaining spots in the top 10 as far as hitting is concerned. An interesting note, as far as triples are concerned, the Angels are tied with 3 batters in 3rd place with 4. Sean Rodriguez, Josh LeBlanc, and Richard Giannotti all have forced triples this year. Sean Rodriguez continues to lead the league in on-base percentage and is 2nd in slugging percentage, while Andrew Toussaint right now is 4th in the league of home runs at 12. On the mound tonight for the Angels will be right-hander Fernando Rodriguez. He'll face off against Stephen Edsel. We're going to stand for the national anthem, and we'll be back with more Angels baseball on SportsJuice.com, including the starting lineups and tonight's first pitch.
As Jessica Burke will now perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you sing by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, seek us that star-spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome back to Angels Baseball, a very beautiful rendition of our country's national anthem. As we are set to get underway, leading things off for the Casper Rockies will be the designated hitter, Chris Nelson. Of course, Nelson, the number 6 pick overall this year in the 2004 amateur draft. Jeff Dragisevich will bat second and play shortstop. Justin Nelson will play right field and bat third. Batting fourth will be catcher Ryan Fox. Batting fifth will be the first baseman Mike Davies. Batting sixth, third baseman Kyle Wilson. Batting seventh, left fielder Trevor Allen. Batting eighth, center fielder Steve Boggs. And batting ninth, second baseman Bruce Baldwin, who has really had a good year against Provo. Of all the Casper Rockies that have struggled against the Angels, Baldwin has not. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the game. Let's look at the Angels defense as we get set with Fernando Rodriguez throwing warm-up pitches on the mound. Mike Hughes gets the start tonight in left field. The native of the product of the University of Illinois Chicago. on the good graces right now, hitting the ball well, and will start in left field. In center field will be University of Miami product Richard Giannotti, in right, Broken Arrow native J.R. Renz. At third base, Nate Sutton, who tonight has his socks up high, as it seems to be the slump buster for the Angels. Sean Rodriguez at short. Billy Boyer getting the start at second tonight, giving Josh LeBlanc the night off. He's got a little bit of turf toe. He was limping around this afternoon. And so the Angels giving him a chance to rest. And the hot bat in the lineup right now, Cliff Remley at first base, tipped up behind the dish, catching for Rodriguez. Rodriguez comes into tonight's game with a 3-3 record, a 4.61 ERA, and 52 2/3 innings worked. He has started 11 games for the Angels and has done a nice job working his way into the starting lineup. Has good stuff. As with all the Angels pitchers, if he can keep his control, he is a very dominating pitcher. He has 17 walks, 47 strikeouts, and opponents are hitting .288 against him. So the Angels look to build on their Pioneer League Southern Division lead. The playoffs will open a week from tonight. We're still undetermined as to who our opponent will be, as Idaho Falls and Ogden battled it out. Casper still has a breath of air in this race. That we'll see what happens with that as the season goes along. So we're underway. A couple of guys to keep a watch on tonight. Remley went 3 for 3 last night, and Renz 4 for 4. So the bottom of the order going 7 for 7 as the Angels took care of the Mustangs 9-7. The first pitch to Nelson was outside, ball 1. And here's the 1-0. Up high, ball 2. Nelson on the year, 336, 4 home runs, and 15 RBI. Batting from the right side. The pitch on the way, swing and a foul ball down the right field line out of play. And the count is now 2-1. Outfield playing straight away, infield back, except for Nate Sutton, who's in at the corner. Russ starts his windup. The pitch on the way, swung and foul back to the netting. 102 strikes. If this is your first time listening in, we're here home at Larry H. Miller Field in Provo, Utah, on the campus of BYU. In scenic Provo, Utah, in the heart of the Wasatch Mountains, as Rodriguez misses outside with a curveball. 3 balls and 2 strikes. It's 345 down the lines, 380 to the gap, and 400 to straightaway center as the field is symmetrical. Big swing and a miss at a curveball. The ball drops, and Duff steps to his right and throws Nelson out at first for the first out of the inning. Big swing and a beautiful curveball by Fernando Rodriguez. Jeff Dragicevic will come to the plate, an 18th round draft pick of 2004, Westlake Village, California native. Comes in with a .233 average, no home runs, and 13 RBIs, so a defensive presence for the Rockies at the top of the lineup tonight. He looks at an off-speed pitch that catches the corner, strike 1. Very special guest sometime in the early innings of tonight's game will be joined by Anaheim Angels general manager Bill Stoneman, who's in town these past 2 nights visiting the team. Talk to him about what he sees and what he likes here, and about the future of the Anaheim organization as Dragicevic swung through strike 2. Here's the 0-2 again, a big breaking curveball, and Dragicevic way out in front. So 2 batters, 2 strikeouts for Fernando Rodriguez. We'll have to start calling him K-Rod in reference to another pitcher in the Angels organization. And that'll bring Justin Nelson to the plate. Nelson on the season, .273, 13 home runs and 41 RBIs. Comes in 3rd in the league with home runs as he fouls the pitch back to the screen, strike 1. The big left-handed right fielder, batting from the right side of the plate. Nelson, a 15th round draft pick in 04 from San Diego, California, takes ball 1 outside. The Rockies in their home grays, with purple lettering across the front, and black socks and hats. Pitch is lined into right field. J.R. Renz will give chase, and he will gather it in. So the Rockies come up 3, down 3. As we start things off, we are just underway. We'll head to the bottom of the first. We'll have the Angels lineup and the Rockies defense. You're listening to Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com.
The Provo Angels would like to thank Jack, Ted, Paul, and Coca-Cola for sponsoring the honorary Fat Boy, Fat Girl promotion. Visit your Provo and Springfield McDonald's location, where you can get your child signed up for your chance to be an honorary Fat Boy or Fat Girl.
Back to Angels baseball. Zach Frazier bringing you the action here in 2004 from Larry H. Miller Field. Let's take a quick look at the Angels starting lineup as we get set to welcome Steven Edsel to Miller Field. Hopefully we'll give him a warm Miller Field welcome with a nice big fat 3 or 4 run inning. Richard Giannotti will lead things off for the Angels. Nate Sutton will bat third. Sean Rodriguez in his traditional 3 spot. Caleb Mayer batting fourth. Cliff Remley moving up in the lineup to fifth. Remley will be followed by catcher Tim Duff in the 6th spot. Batting seventh will be J.R. Renz. Renz, of course, last night 4 for 4, a home run, 2 singles, and a double, and 4 RBIs. So a big night for the right fielder. Looks to keep that hop bat in the lineup. Mike Hughes will bat 8th. And Billy Boyer will bat 9th. He'll face off against Edsel, who has faced off against the Angels once this year. Struggled in his start. He has struggled all year long since coming to the Rockies from the Tri-City organization. He's 1-2 with a 17.72 ERA and only 10 2/3 innings worked. He's walked 6, struck out 5, and opponents are hitting, get this, 500 against him as Giannotti looks at ball 1 outside. The 1-0 on the way, again outside, ball 2, and Giannotti is quickly ahead. Angels fans, a reminder that trading cards will be ready September 8th. If you're a player family, we will have plenty of each player to give them. You can purchase sets, team sets, by calling 801-377-BALL. And the count now 2-1 as Giannotti looks at a strike on the outside corner. The pitch on the way, and it's pulled down the first base line. Mike Davies will scoop it up and step on first himself for the first out of the inning. Giannotti is put down 3 unassisted. And that'll bring third baseman Nate Sutton to the plate. Sutton, who's been in a little bit of a funk lately. Only hitting .235 in his last 5 games, but still considered one of the most potent bats in all of the Pioneer League and one of the more difficult outs in the Angels lineup. Takes a curveball on the outside corner, strike 1. Sutton starting tonight's game hitting .348 with a home run and 34 RBIs. Looks at the pitch outside, ball 1. Sutton to be followed by Sean Rodriguez and Caleb Mayer in the outfield for the Rockies. Will give that right after this pitch. The 1-1 is lifted foul down the left field line and out over the Angels bullpen, out of play. And the count now 1-2. In left field, Trevor Allen takes over. Steve Boggs is in center, and Justin Nelson in right for the Rockies. Kyle Wilson, Jeff Dragisevich, Bruce Baldwin, and Mike Davies from third to first across the infield. The 1-2 misses down low. And Sutton has even the count at 2 apiece. Back behind the dish for the Rockies is catcher Ryan Fox and, of course, Stephen Edsel on the mound. Edsel, the right-hander, starts his windup. That pitch is lined down the first base line, but foul. A good Tuesday night crowd so far here as people continue to pour in. Stands are already over half full, and more people start to make their way into the ballpark. We had a couple of decent-sized barbecues tonight. That has helped out the attendance on a typically poor attendance night, a Tuesday night, as Sutton fouls the pitch again down the left field line. So he is scattering foul balls across the field. On a very hot night, about 85 degrees temperature. And setting sun behind us as we get later on into the year, the clouds, or not the clouds, excuse me, the shade comes out earlier and earlier. So at least the infield is covered in shade and about a third of the outfield. Nate Sutton takes ball 3 outside, and here's the payoff pitch. Sutton fouls the pitch back to the screen, and he stays alive to see another day. So a very important series starts tonight in Idaho Falls. Ogden will visit Idaho Falls for the first of 5 games between the two teams. They are separated by 2 games right now for the final playoff spot in the Southern Division. And Sutton lifts the line drive into center field. Good at bat by Nate Sutton. And it looks like the Rally Sox do the trick for the Angels, as Sean Rodriguez had a decent game last night, as did Josh LeBlanc. And now Nate Sutton continues the tradition, picking up a 1-out single into center field. So Sean Rodriguez will step to the plate. Rodriguez, of course, as we've mentioned many a time, the MVP of the Pioneer League this year. 343 on the year with 10 home runs and 52 RBIs. Very relaxed crouch from the right side of the plate. The ball bounces off the shin guard of catcher Ryan Fox. Will roll all the way to the Casper dugout. And Sutton now stands at second base with a pass ball. The Angels quickly have runners in scoring position here in the bottom of the first, as Steve Edsel, the 6'4", 205-pound right-hander from North Hutchinson Island, Florida, is trying to pitch out of a jam. The pitch to Rodriguez misses outside, and the count is now 2-0. The Angels 2 quick home games against the Casper Rockies to finish out the home season this year before hitting the road tomorrow night at about midnight. These 2 teams will race each other back to Casper and play Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before the Angels will visit Lindquist Field for the last 2 games of the season up in Ogden, and then on the road for the playoffs September 7th, a week from tonight. If you had to determine a playoff opponent, it'll probably be down to the last game of the season as Rodriguez rockets a foul ball down the left field line and into the Angels bullpen. Right now the Rockies defense in the outfield has Rodriguez shaded to the left, so a good sized gap in right center between the Carrabba's sign and the BYU Creamery sign. The pitch on the way to 2-1 is lined right back up the middle, a shot, and Nate Sutton will be waved home by Tom Kochman. The throw from Steve Boggs not in time, and the Angels jump out to a quick 1-0 lead. Rodriguez, an RBI single. He rocketed that ball right back up the middle. And that'll bring Caleb Mayer to the plate. And I have to thank one of our listeners. I don't know his name, but he sent me an email this morning. I'll read off the email that he sent me. His address is lbdeman@aol.com. I think his name is Larry here, but he mentioned in an email today as Mayer grounds to the shortstop on to 2 for the first out and relayed on to first. So Mayer quickly grounds into a 6-4-3 double play. I was going to say that Mayer right now has a 20-game on-base safely streak. He's reached base safely in 20 straight games. So thank you for the note from Larry. I did not know that. I appreciate input from fans concerning their favorite players and the Provo Angels. So the Angels come up with a run in the bottom of the first. We'll head to the top of the second. They lead 1-0. You're listening to Provo Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com. Welcome back to Provo Angels Baseball. This is Zach Frazier bringing you the action on SportsJuice.com. A very warm, beautiful night in Provo, Utah, as we are on the last day of August as we head into early fall. The Angels right now lead the Casper Rockies 1-0 as we get set to start the top of the second. Ryan Fox, Mike Davies, and Kyle Wilson due up for the Mountaintops. The pitch on the way from Rodriguez, another curveball as he catches the outside corner, strike one. Rockies, of course, the Pioneer League affiliate of the Colorado Rockies of the National League West. The pitch on the way. Outside and low. Good job by Duff to keep it in front. Learned that Tim Duff's family was out here earlier this week. And throughout the weekend, we hope that they made it safely back to home, wherever that may be. The 1-1 on the way. Swing and foul tipped off the glove of Duff. He hustles after the ball, and the count is 1-2. Angels pick up a run in the bottom of the first with consecutive singles by Nate Sutton and Sean Rodriguez. And they now lead 1-0. The pitch on the way, swing and a miss, and Rodriguez cuts down Fox. A nice fastball by the right-hander, Rodriguez from El Paso, Texas, an 18th round pick last year for the Anaheim Angels. Has been at times masterful and has been at other times struggling, but one of the definite talents that the Angels have. They have, you look at their starting pitching and their pitching in general, and there's not a whole lot of guys that at first look like they're having standout years, but they are really a tough pitching staff, one built for a playoff run and also built for developing players, and that's what they've been doing this year. Mike Davies fouls the first pitch back, strike one. And you've got guys that have come in big in situations where they've needed to be. So the Angels certainly doing their job right now to develop the young pitchers of Anaheim's future, and Davies takes a strike on the outside corner, 0-2. Pitch on the way, misses outside, and the count is now 1-2 to Davies. Now you look at the Angels as far as team pitching is concerned. They have the third best ERA in the league at a 5.21 team ERA. Great Falls in first with a 4.23. The Angels, of course, the best record in the league at 42-37, and Rodriguez delivers a fastball that catches the outside corner. Davies is frozen and goes down looking for out number 2. That'll bring Kyle Wilson, the third baseman, to the plate. Wilson, 247 on the year with 4 home runs and 28 RBI. Wilson joins the Rockies as a catcher originally. Drafted in the 26th round this year out of Santa Maria, California. Rodriguez fires a fastball, strike one. Gets set, working quickly as he's found a groove. The pitch on the way, down low. Ball one. The Angels right now the best record in the Pioneer League, 42-27. Certainly the 22-9 in the second half has helped them in that quest. The 1-1 catches the outside corner, and Rodriguez smoking hot right now. 1 ball and 2 strikes. As he swings and misses for strike 3. Rodriguez strikes out the side. He has 5 on the game, and we're only through 2 innings. The Angels will head to the dugout with a 1-0 lead. We'll be back with the bottom of the second and Angels baseball on sportsjuice.com.
Okay, the Trail Suzuki of the Seattle Mariners is fewer than 50 hits shy of breaking the single season hit record. Who currently holds that single season hit record? A. Ty Cobb, B. Nick Sutton, C. George Sisler, and D. Steve Rose. Hey, Pat, is it A? Is it A. Ty Cobb? No? Is it B. Nick Sutton? C. George Sisler, or D. Steve Rose? What's C?
I'm going to go C.
Okay, you got it right.
Congratulations to Mark Allen. He's won a free night stay at the Forum La Quinta and Suites. And fans, don't forget you can stop by the La Quinta autograph booth before Tuesday and Thursday games at 6:30 to meet your favorite Provo Angels players. And kids, make sure to head on back to the McDonald's guest services booth and sign up to participate in the Carrabba's Chicken and Cardinal on the Anthem 7 Express.
Cliff Remily will lead things off. For the Angels here in the bottom of the second, they lead 1-0. Remily seeing his average climb to 283 as he looks at ball one, misses the outside corner. 389 in his last 5 games with 7 hits, 5 runs scored, and a pair of RBI. Amazing at the plate right now for Remily as he grounds the ball to Bruce Baldwin for out number 1. And I got to stop talking about these guys because as soon as I praise them, they get out. Anyway, we'll keep it up. Tim Duff will step to the plate. Duff on the year, coming up to the plate with a 297 average. He's been hovering around 300 all year long. He swings and fouls the first pitch back to the screen. No balls and 1 strike. Duff and Ben Johnson, of course, combining for probably the most potent catchers tandem in the Pioneer League as far as handling their staff, defensive prowess, and their abilities at the plate. As Edsel misses down low, ball 1. Angels have really had great seasons out of their catchers. Some news of note, Brett Martinez, who joined the club a couple nights ago, has been called up to Cedar Rapids to fill in for an injured catcher. As the Angels leave Duff and Johnson here, they know the staff, they know the system, and we're heading into the playoffs, and frankly, we're glad that they're here. We know that Duff and Johnson probably will be gone next year based on their performance, but we're grateful that they're sticking it out here. Here's the 1-2 from Edsel. Catches the inside corner, and Duff goes down looking for out number 2. So the first strikeout of the game for Edsel is of the looking variety. And that'll bring J.R. Renz to the plate. Renz, of course, 4 for 4 last night as he takes a big cut and misses at a curveball, 0-1. Renz, 4 for 4, a home run, an RBI, a pair of singles, 4 RBI. Just ripped things up last night against the Billings Mustangs pitching staff. And in fact, as Renz looks at ball 1 outside, if you take away that 2-run home run, we're looking at a 7-7 ball game in the 9th inning. Renz fouls the pitch down the first base line, drifting over into the barbecue pit and out of play. The count now 1-2. Angels looking to go to 23-9 in the second half of the year. As Renz grounds the ball up the middle, Bruce Baldwin will take it on 2 hops. The throw on the run gets Renz, and the Angels go down, matching the Rockies by going down in order. We head to the top of the 3rd. The Angels lead 1-0. You're listening to Provo Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com. Fielder Trevor Allen will get things going here in the top of the 3rd. The Angels lead 1-0. Fernando Rodriguez in control, setting down the Rockies 1-2-3 in both innings. He misses inside and low to Allen. 1-0 the count. Some news: we have a couple of new players that have joined the Angels family in the last couple days. We'll go over that when we have a moment. The 1-0 on the way. Curveball that catches the inside corner, strike 1. We have a new addition in the form of pitchers Kelly Shearer, Jason Corbett, and Rafael Cruz Chavez, who all joined the Angels over the last 2 or 3 days from Mesa. Ground ball to the third base side, bare hand play by Nate Sutton on to first, and that is just a beautiful play by third baseman Nate Sutton. He picks up the slow roller barehanded and relays on to first base for the out. Allen is put down 5-3 to start things off here in the third. Angels also added second baseman Alexis Casilla and said thank you to Brett Martinez as he was called up to the Cedar Rapids Colonels. So the Angels beefing up the bullpen in preparation for the championship run. That'll start next week. Rodriguez misses down low and inside to Stephen Boggs, ball one. Boggs, the center fielder, comes into tonight's game with a .233 average. No home runs and 21 RBI. To pitch on the way, swing and a miss by the lefty, and the count is 1-1. Boggs way out in front of that slider as it tailed away from him. Interesting that Rodriguez has a slider that tails away from left-handed batters. Usually a right-handed pitcher would tail in, but he has great control over that pitch. And he pitches it again, and this time Boggs does barely get a piece, but fouls it off the shin guards of Tim Duff. Cruz threw last night, and through 3 innings of scoreless relief, he only allowed 1 hit as the Angels beat the Mustangs. Corbett also threw on Saturday night, 1 in the 3rd innings of relief. The ball is grounded to the second baseman. Billy Boyer looks it into his glove, flips it on to Remley at first. And Boggs is retired 4-3 for the second out of the 3rd inning.
Now up, second baseman, number 4, Bruce Baldwin.
So the Angels adding some defensive help, also pitching, and looks like a strong team as we head into the Pioneer League Championship round. The batter now, Bruce Baldwin, as he takes a curveball in the outside corner, 0-1. I'd like to also wish good luck to the Ham family as Coach Kevin Ham is in Texas with his wife. They are about to, or may have had, or already had a baby boy. So congratulations to Kevin and his wife as he's with his family as he should be. The pitch is lined into left field for the first base hit of the night. Baldwin continues his dominance of Angels pitching. The ball is relayed into second base. Rodriguez gives up his first hit of the night. A line drive base hit to left. Baldwin now stands at first with a single. Chris Nelson, the DH, and the number 1 hitter in the lineup, will come to the plate. He struck out swinging in his first at-bat, one of the 5 that Rodriguez has. Rodriguez kicks and delivers, misses high, ball 1. Sutton, Rodriguez, Boyer, and Remley across the infield, third to first. Duff behind the plate for Fernando Rodriguez. The 0-1 is looped into right field. J.R. Renz takes a couple of steps back, comes in 2 more, and gathers it in for the 3rd out of the inning. The Rockies do manage to pick up a hit. However, he's stranded at first. The Angels will head to the bottom of the 3rd with a 1-0 lead. You're listening to Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com.
All right, here we go.
to the plate in his first action tonight. Hughes on the season, 155, so seeing his average climb as he takes the pitch down and low, ball 1. Hughes 155 with no home runs and 13 RBI, has successfully come back from a shoulder injury. He's actually playing better now that he's back. A ground ball to the shortstop, Dragisevich. He gobbles it up and on to first, barely beating the speedy Hughes down the line. And Hughes is retired 6-3 to start things off here in the third. Hughes will be followed by Billy Boyer, and back to the top of the order in Richard Giannotti. Boyer on the year, 224 with 2 home runs and 9 RBIs. Of course, his time has been split between here and Cedar Rapids. Boyer was the early team leader before getting the call up and has come in to provide a good defensive presence and bat for the Angels. He pops the first pitch up down the third base line. Wilson will give chase, but it'll fall into the stands as a couple of young men will try to fight for it. Crowd of about 15, I'd even say more than that, 1,700 people. About 3/4 of the park is full tonight as folks in Utah County recognizing a beautiful night of baseball. Just a blue sky and just absolutely something you got to see as the pitch is lined over the grandstand and out of play down the third base line. And the count is now 0-2. Boyer, a switch hitter, batting lefty against the right-handed Edsel. The pitch on the way is taken low for ball 1. Sure to stick with us as Anaheim General Manager Bill Stoneman will be joining us throughout the game, or later on in the game, as Boyer swings and misses strike 3. So Edsel picks up his second strikeout of the night. And that'll bring the top of the order and Richard Giannotti to the plate. Giannotti grounded out to first baseman Mike Davies to get things going. And is now 0 for 1 on the season. Or on the night. As Edsel fires a fastball knee-high, strike 1. G, batting from the left side, also a switch hitter, as Edsel misses down low, ball 1. So only 2 games in the Pioneer League tonight. Ourselves and Ogden visiting Idaho Falls. That got underway at 7:15 Mountain Standard Time as Giannotti swings through a high fastball, and the count is 1-2. And we'll check in with the scoreboard at ProvoAngels.com to see how that game is progressing. As Giannotti strikes out swinging to end the inning, the Angels come up and go down in order. We'll head to the top of the 4th. The Angels lead 1-0. You're listening to Provo Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com. Dragicevic will step to the plate to lead things off against Fernando Rodriguez here in the fourth inning. The Angels up 1-0 as we head to the top of the fourth. Dragicevic, Nelson, and Fox due up. Rodriguez working quickly from the mound. Delivers a pitch that's lined into center field as the Rockies pick up their second base hit of the night. And for the first time, the Rockies have their leadoff man on with no out. They haven't had their leadoff man on, period, but they now have their leadoff man, no out, and their number 3 hitter, Justin Nelson, coming to the plate. Nelson, the lefty, 0 for 1 on the night, flew out to right fielder J.R. Renz to start the game. Rodriguez comes set. The pitch on the way, swung and fouled back to the screen, strike 1. Fernando against left-handed batters. Struck out 14 and walked only 3, but left-handed opponents are hitting .304 against him. Rodriguez set, the pitch on the way. This is high and outside, ball 1. Be sure to visit ProvoAngels.com for all of your Angels information, as well as a chance to win $2,500 from minor league baseball. You can also check out real-time stats and scores from both the Pioneer League and Major League Baseball as the 1-1 misses inside, ball 2. Nice job by Duff to slide over and keep that from sliding away. Owners Rob Owens and Linda Gockray are in town tonight as they come and get set for the playoffs as well. Rodriguez throws over to first. Dragicevic back in safely. Rodriguez from the stretch position comes set. The pitch on the way. Swung and fouled back over the grandstand on the third base side and out of the ballpark. And the count is now even at 2 apiece. Click on the stats and scores link at ProvoAngels.com. It'll bring you to a page where you can select between minor league or Major League Baseball, Pioneer League, Angels up-to-date stats and information. The pitch on the way, the 2-2 swung on and fouled back into the crowd. And it just does clear the grandstand on the third base side. And the count remains at 2-2. As I mentioned, only 2 games in the Pioneer League tonight. Ourselves and Ogden as the North Division has the night off. The 2-2 on the way. Catches the inside corner, and Nelson goes down looking for strike 3. So Rodriguez, great control factor tonight as he paints the corner and picks up his 6th strikeout of the night. Ryan Fox will come to the plate. Fox, one of the 3 victims when Rodriguez struck out the side in the second inning. Right now, Ogden and Idaho Falls tied at 1-1. There at McDermott Field. The pitch on the way, popped up into shallow center field. Richard Giannotti will run back, get his bearings, come in, and gather it in for the second out of the inning. So very high and medium depth, but as they call it in the industry, a can of corn. And frankly, the last time I tried to catch a can of corn, it hurt. So I don't know why they call a high fly ball a can of corn. If somebody could explain that to me, it'd be great. Mike Davies steps to the plate. He also was a strikeout victim of Rodriguez back in the second. He takes ball 1 outside, 1-0 the count. Can you imagine a can of corn dropping from 400 feet out of the sky? That hurt, frankly. Rodriguez set the pitch on the way. The runner goes, and Davies fouls the pitch back over our heads here in the press box. Dragicevic will head back to first base, and the count is now 1-1. Of course, around the Angels organization, got some scores from last night's games as the Stingers, Travelers, Quakes, and Colonels were all in action. As Rodriguez misses inside, ball 2. Great thing that we have so many Provo Angels throughout the Angels organization. They've shows the good job that Tom Kochman has done developing players, and just the incredible drafts that the Angels have had over the past 4 or 5 years, starting with guys like Dallas McPherson and Casey Kochman. The ball is grounded back up through the middle for a base hit. Dragicevic will be forced to stop at second as Giannotti recovers quickly. And Davies picks up his first hit of the night. So a leadoff single and now a 2-out single by Davies puts runners at first and second for the Rockies. Kyle Wilson struck out swinging into his first at bat back in the second. Will come to the plate. The Stingers last night, the Salt Lake Stingers, the AAA team of Anaheim, and about 40 minutes up I-15 from the Angels here in Provo. Pitch is blooped. Pop up in the infield. Boyer will call everybody off and gather it in. So while Wilson pops up to Boyer to end the inning, the Rockies get runners at first and second but fail to score a run. We head to the bottom of the 4th with the Angels up 1-0. You're listening to Provo Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com. Sutton will lead things off. He'll be followed by Sean Rodriguez and Caleb Mayer. Sutton 1 for 1. He scored a run back at first, the only run on the board, as the Angels have 1 run on 2 hits and no errors. The Rockies, no runs on 3 hits and no errors. Edsel delivers a looping curveball that catches the outside corner, strike 1. So Edsel definitely pitching stronger here than he did in his first appearance against the Angels, where he did not make it out of the 3rd inning. Edsel delivers a curveball that bounces about 58 feet, and the count is now 1-1. Sutton, who fell behind 0-2, worked the count back to his favor at 3-2, and then got a pitch that he could line to center field. Had a very effective at bat. We were looking at some of the Angels organization and how they fared last night. Sutton fouls the pitch back to the screen, 1-2. Salt Lake won last night 12-2 as they beat the Tucson Sidewinders, the Arizona Diamondbacks affiliate. The pitch on the way again, this time about 56 feet. And the count is 2-2. The Travelers pitchers allowed just 4 hits last night, and beating up the Midland Rockhounds, the AA team of the Oakland Athletics, 7-1. Former Provo Angel Nick Gorneau had 2 hits, including a solo home run. As the pitch from Edsel is up high, the count now 3-2. To leadoff man Nate Sutton here in the bottom of the 4th. He grounds the ball softly to the right side. The first baseman will pick it up and flip to Edsel, covering the bag. Nice play by Mike Davies to retire Sutton. That'll bring Sean Rodriguez to the plate. Rodriguez, the only RBI in the game right now. Lined a single up the middle that scored Nate Sutton back in the 1st inning. The Quakes of Rancho Cucamonga had the day off, and they're fighting for a playoff spot as they had to take on the High Desert Mavericks tonight. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Cedar Rapids lost their 4th straight with a 3-1 loss against the Fort Wayne Wizards, a San Diego Padres affiliate. As the pitch, the 0-1, as Rodriguez looked at the first pitch, a curveball that missed outside, and takes a fastball high. 1-1 the count as Rodriguez moves it into right field. It's going to go back all the way to the wall. The right fielder, Nielsen, will catch it on the warning track about 3 feet in front of the Barber Brothers sign. And he'll head back to the dugout. Now 1 for 2 on the night, and the 2nd straight out here in the bottom of the 4th. So Mayer coming into the game with a .317 average. As the Mortal Kombat music being played now for Caleb Mayer. Mayer steps in the right side of the batter's box and looks at ball 1. Fox has it glance off the tip of his glove and heads all the way back to the backstop. So, little news from around the Angels organization as Mayer fouls it back behind first base and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. To clean up man Caleb Mayer. As I mentioned before, a good fan Larry, don't know his last name or where he's from, but he indicated that Mayer's reached base safely in 20 straight games. And looks to continue that tonight, either a walk, a hit, or an error. But it's indicative of his on-base percentage. As he grounds the ball into left field for a base hit, so make that 21 games for Mayer. And he picks up a single with 2 out. His on-base percentage has climbed to 410. And I'd like to see that continue again tonight. So Cliff Remley grounded out to the second baseman to lead off the 2nd inning. Comes to the plate 0 for 1. Remley, the left-hander, against the right-handed Edsel. Edsel comes set, looks over his shoulder, and misses down low. The ball skips away from Fox. A little bit of lazy work behind home plate by catcher Ryan Fox as he tried to backhand the ball instead of sliding over to keep it in front. And Caleb Mayer now stands at second base on the pass ball. Angels lead 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th. They're looking to add a run, 1 run on 3 hits, and not a single error for the Angels. No runs on 3 hits and no errors for the Rockies as Remley takes ball 2 inside. Remley, who didn't tell us for the first month and a half that we were pronouncing his name wrong. Finally, his girlfriend mentioned it to us, and we corrected it. Remley, very soft-spoken, and did not let us know, but I apologize, and we apologize as an organization for mispronouncing his family's last name. He takes ball 3 down and in. This time, Fox, good technique to keep the ball in front. And the count is 3-0. As I mentioned before, Remley coming into the game on a tear. 389 in his last 5 games, 308 in his last 10 has seen his average climb to 283. And producing the way the Angels expected when they drafted him in the amateur draft this year. The 11th round out of Georgia Tech. He takes a curveball inside for strike one on the inside corner. Edsel set the pitch on the way. Grounded foul down the first base line and into the Rockies dugout. Rockies scatter out of the way, and the count is now full. So 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 1 runner on. Caleb Mayer stands at second base in scoring position. He reached on a single and then advanced to second on a pass ball. The Angels would like to give Rodriguez another couple of runs to work with. Reno set. Here's the pitch from Edsel. He grounds the ball to the second baseman. Bruce Baldwin will gobble it up, and he'll relay on to first to end the inning. The Angels do pick up a base hit, but strand the runner as we head to the top of the 5th. The Angels clinging to a 1-0 lead. You're listening to Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com.
It's time to stand up and do the chicken dance. Brought to you by our friends at Carrabba's Italian Grill, located at University Mall in Orem. Everyone on your feet. And check out the kids from the dugout roofs if you need some guys. Are we ready? It's time for the Carrabba's Chicken Dance Marzola. Everyone.
As we head into the top of the 5th, the Angels right now up 1-0 on the Casper Rockies. Trevor Allen will lead things off against Fernando Rodriguez. Rodriguez going 4 innings so far, having struck out 6. And working right now with a 1-0 lead. We're going to be joined here in a moment by the Anaheim Angels GM, Bill Stoneman, as the pitch is lined into left field. Mike Hughes hustles over to cut it off, and he'll relay it in as the Rockies pick up their 4th base hit of the night. Mr. Stone, it's good to have you here tonight.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
When you come to a situation like Provo, I know you were in Salt Lake a couple weeks ago, and as you travel through the minor league system, what's the state of affairs so far for the Anaheim Angels organization?
Well, we have a lot of prospects, and scouts that we run into along the way tell us we got a lot of prospects. And really, you can't necessarily tell that by one loss because some of the clubs are below 500, some are above. Provo's above, but when you look at certain players and judge whether they're going to play in the major leagues, we got a lot of guys who we think will.
The pitch was bunted down the third base line, a bunt that just died in the grass. And Steve Boggs reaches on an infield single, so now the Rockies threatening with runners at first and second here in the top of the 5th. The Angels clinging to a 1-0 lead, and that'll bring second baseman Bruce Baldwin. Baldwin picked up the first hit of the game for the Rockies with a single to left field. How nice is it to have a AAA club and a rookie league club within 40 minutes of one another? Does that help as far as developing prospects? Does it help as far as sharing information is concerned?
Well, it's really helpful because we have a lot of roving instructors who travel throughout the minor league system. We've got a roving pitching guy and a roving hitting guy, and we've got infield instructor, a catching instructor. I mean, we've got a lot of these guys, and they really only have to fly into Salt Lake once for both teams and catch both of them. So it's pretty easy. I ran into a couple of them as I was checking into the hotel here in Provo. There were a couple of them checking out and going up to Salt Lake.
Who are some of the prospects this year that have really surprised? Now, you look at guys like Josh LeBlanc and Cliff Remley, guys that were picked in higher rounds of the draft, but who are some of the guys in 2004 that have really come out of the woodwork and surprised the Anaheim organization that are playing right now in Provo?
Well, you know, the problem with starting to name guys is you're going to leave some out.
Well, let's rephrase the question. Have you been pleased with the development of this team this year in Provo?
Oh, I mean, these guys are playing great, and Tom Kochman does a great job bringing guys along. You know, you mentioned LeBlanc, who, I mean, all the players here really have a long way to go because, you know, this is this is a short season team, and they're just starting out. They're on their careers here, but there are a lot of guys that have really made improvements from the start of the year until now. So we're really proud of all of them. Some guys, I mean, LeBlanc has come a long way. And talking to Tom Kochman, he's one of the guys who's really come a long way this year.
It's been interesting, too, to watch guys like Nate Sutton, Sean Rodriguez, another one that he was a higher round draft pick, but has really flourished in a leadership role down here. Nate Sutton, Andrew Toussaint, a lot of those guys have really improved. And like you said, top to bottom, this team has worked as a team and done what they're supposed to, every player on the roster. So it's been fun to watch. The throw down to second base as they pick off Trevor Allen. He's caught sleeping. Just to catch you up on the action, Bruce Baldwin lined into left field for the first out of the inning. There's now 2 outs, and the Rockies' threat is cut short. They now have a runner at first in Steve Boggs, but with 2 out and a 1-0 count to leadoff man Chris Nelson. How's the team up in Anaheim doing? I know we're in a tight race now with Oakland and the Texas Rangers. Have some of these free agent signees like Vladimir Guerrero, Kelvin Escobar. What kind of attitude has that brought to the team? Is it something that will translate into a postseason run?
Well, I mean, that's why we did it. We went out last winter and signed 5 free agent players, and really we weren't known for doing that a whole bunch, but we did, and signed a bunch of guys who were pretty good players, and they've all had real good years. And I mean, Guerrero's one, Escobar's another, Colon and Guillen, our left fielder, and they're all having good years. So it's worked. We're in playoff contention right now, and that's where we want to be.
The interesting thing when you look at that team, a lot of teams in the major league level have to sacrifice their future to go out and get big free agents or to pick up big guys in the trade. Anaheim was able to this year not sacrifice their future in their minor league system and still be able to go after some of the big names. Is that an attitude that Artie Moreno has brought into the organization, to a developmental attitude as well as let's win at the big league level?
Well, you know, Artie believes, just like I do, and then our whole organization really believe in signing and developing our own players. If you don't sign the good guys out of high school and college in the Latin countries, and if you don't develop them well in the minor leagues, you're not going to be very good. No matter how many free agents you sign in the wintertime, you've still got to develop players through your system. So that's really where we put our priority. And I know we caught a lot of headlines for the free agent signings last winter, but our priorities really are with signing and developing our own players and using our minor league system.
Well, the nice thing is we get to see those players here in Provo. As the pitch is grounded to Rodriguez, he fires the first to end the inning. The Angels escape a threat. I'd like to thank Mr. Stoneman for joining us here today.
All right, well, thank you. It's great to get to Provo and see these young guys.
Have a good trip back to Anaheim.
Thank you.
You're listening to Angels Baseball and SportsJuice.com. We'll be right back.
Charlie, since he's probably going to cheat anyway. Ready, set, go! There goes Blake. Heading home. And there they go. Down the stretch they come. Barely by a hair of Charlie's tail. Charlie is very hot. It's going to be Blake Christian. Blake Christian. Charlie with a great quarterback. Congratulations to Blake Critchfield. Thank you to our friends at New Ways for the great prizes. Hey fans, make sure to check your ticket backs for a coupon to Oregon City's Sarah Park Pool. Good for one free child donation with every paid adult. Head on over to Oregon City's Sarah Park Pool and be that summer heat while you still have that summer heat. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Please, for your own safety, remain off of the dugout roof.
We'd like to thank Mr. Stoneman for joining us during the fifth. We apologize for the lack of play-by-play, but we assure you the Angels did not give up a run. As we head to the bottom of the fifth, Tim Duff will come to the plate. Tim 0 for 1 on the night. Struck out looking back in the second inning. The pitch from Edsel misses outside, ball 1. And we know that Duff's family is listening tonight. We're all curious. Did people do the, hey, it's Duff Man from The Simpsons when he was growing up? We just like to know it. We think it's great. He takes a strike at the knees, 1-1. As J.R. Renz and Mike Hughes is due up. And then to listen to Mr. Stoneman, it's exciting to hear their commitment to development and working with the players. He lifts a high fly ball to deep left field. Going back to the wall is Allen, and he will gather it in on the warning track. So Duff just misses putting one out. And Duff goes down as the first out here in the bottom of the fifth. The Angels, 1 run on 3 hits and no errors. No runs on 5 hits and no errors as Stephen Edsel has come out and surprised both Rockies and Angels players. Maybe he hasn't surprised the Rockies. He certainly has surprised the Angels as he struggled in his first appearance here in Miller Field a couple of weeks ago. Renz swings through the pitch, strike 1. The pitch inside as it just about caught Renz on the belt loops. He steps out of the way. The count now 1-1. The pitch swung on and missed. Strike 2. And the count now 1-2. But it is a joy to be part of an organization that concentrates not only on winning at the big league level, but is committed to developing their players all the way through. And Edsel gets Renz to chase the ball high and tight as he swings and misses for out number 2. Here in the bottom of the fifth, Mike Hughes will now step to the plate. Hughes, who grounded out to short his first at bat, is 0 for 1. The Angels only have 3 base hits on the night. Sutton, Rodriguez, and Caleb Mayer. The rest of the lineup 0 for. Stephen Edsel is holding Angels hitters at bay. Hughes takes a pitch on the outside corner, strike 1. And certainly the thing that he talked about is something that we've talked about for the last couple weeks. The pitch is taken inside on the hindquarters as Hughes turns his back and takes the pitch on the rear end, and he'll head to first with a 2-out hit by pitch. But you listen to him talk and the respect that he has for each player on this roster, and you look top to bottom, guys have done what they've been asked to do, their jobs. A lot of these guys have been the stars their whole life, and sometimes they're not asked to be the star here. They're asked to be the relief pitcher, or they're asked to play a utility infielder. And they have done that and have surprised a lot of folks. And, of course, Tom Kochman being rewarded with Manager of the Year should be congratulated, but so should the players as they have committed to doing the right things the right way. As Billy Boyer swings through the pitch, strike 1. Boyer 0 for 1, who struck out swinging back in the third. He swings and misses, strike 2. And Edsel is ahead 0-2. A slight breeze right now is blowing from left to right. The Angels lead 1-0 as we're in the bottom of the fifth. However, they haven't had runners in scoring position. It's only happened twice in the game, once in the first inning and once in the fourth. The pitch on the way, the 0-2 is lined into right field. That's going to catch the gap and roll all the way to the wall. Mike Hughes is going to be sent home by Tom Kochman. He is going to score with these. Billy Boyer is going to arrive at third with a stand-up triple, and the Boyer man comes through the bottom of the order with an RBI triple, and the Angels now lead 2-0. So a big extra base hit from Billy Boyer, as Hughes scores all the way from first. That ball was lined into the gap. They keep shading over towards left field against these Angels hitters, and Boyer pulled the ball into the gap. It rolled all the way to the Carrabba's sign, and the Angels now lead 2-0. So Boyer now 1 for 2 on the night with an RBI triple. Richard Giannotti, the center fielder, will step up. He's 0 for 2. He grounded to the first baseman to start the game and struck out swinging back in the third. The pitch from Edsel misses down low. Ball 1. And the count now 1-0. Boyer stands at third base. It starts to cool down significantly. The temperature must have dropped about 5 or 6 degrees here in the last 20 minutes. The breeze blowing feels excellent as Giannotti chases the pitch out of the strike zone, 1-1. The G as he's called here in Provo, hitting .262 with 3 home runs and 22 RBI on the year. So, powerful man at the start of the Angels line up to get things going. He takes ball 2 outside. Of course, you look at the categories that you want to see for a leadoff man. His on-base percentage right now at .390, so a respectable on-base percentage. In the league, top of the league standings with runs scored at 55 as he swings and misses, strike 2. And he's getting on base and stealing them. Second in the league right now with 19 stolen bases. So a great addition to the Angels lineup as he joined the team about 10 weeks into the season. 10 days into the season, the pitch is grounded to the first baseman. Davies goes over and throws to Edsel, covering the bag. So the side is retired. However, the Angels pick up a run on Billy Boyer's blast. RBI triple to right center field. We'll be back with more Angels baseball. You're listening to Zach Frazier on SportsJuice.com.
Please direct your attention to the aisle near the third base dugout where Bonnie Page will try to answer a water trivia question to win a refreshing baseball mystic fan.
How much water does the average citizen of Provo use daily? And this is based on last year. Is it 157 gallons, 382 gallons, 96 gallons, or 231 gallons? Now, this is gallons used every day. Yes, you are correct, which incidentally is lower than it was in 1995. We used 321 gallons a day. Congratulations, you're a winner.
Music now on fire miners the statewide, and so does the Muscular Dystrophy Association. For 50 years, firefighters have filled the loop to benefit people with neuromuscular disease, and they won't back down until there's a cure. Contributions from people in the community provide vital medical services, equipment, research, and much more. The Provo Angels and NBA are asking you to step up to the plate and help fight neuromuscular disease. When you see firefighters around town this week, please help them fill the loop. Bennett's Outback Family Adventure Source is your only source for all your camping, hiking, and travel needs. stop by their store anytime in the next 7 days and present your tickets for a 2-for-1 deal on their Stadium Folding chairs.
We head to the top of the sixth. Fernando Rodriguez, Fernie as he's called, back on the mound to start the sixth inning. He now has a 2-0 lead thanks to Billy Boyer's RBI triple in the bottom of the fifth. Jeff Dragicevic, Justin Nelson, and Ryan Fox will face off against the right-hander as he delivers a pitch that misses the outside corner. 1 ball and no strikes. Let's take a look at the Pioneer League scores. The only other game being played right now is Idaho Falls and Ogden, as Dragicevic looks at ball 2. Of course, Ogden visiting Idaho Falls, and then Idaho Falls will return the favor. And then we'll visit Ogden on Sunday and Monday to wrap up the regular season. The 2-0 from Rodriguez, swung on and missed. Strike 1. Right now, Ogden with it says 3-1 lead heading into the top of the fourth. So hoping to catch ground and make up the difference. They trail by 2 games to second place Idaho Falls for the last playoff spot as Rodriguez fires a fastball in the inside corner, 2-2. The 2-2 on the way. Dragicevic checks his swing. It looked like he was trying to get hit by that pitch. Instead, it bounces off his bat back to the backstop. The count remains at 2-2. We'll also check some Major League scores here, both for the American and National League. There's some interesting races going on right now. The pitch is lined into center field. Giannotti will stay up and make the grab in shallow center. And Dragicevic is retired to start the inning here in the sixth. Now, Justin Nelson will come up to the plate. 0 for 2 on the night. He flew out to right field in the first and struck out looking in the fourth. As we just got done talking to Stoneman, his Anaheim Angels lose 10-7 to Boston. Nelson swings and misses, strike 1. Seattle beat Toronto 7-5. Cleveland beat New York 22-0. I'm reading that for the first time tonight. The Cleveland Indians handled the New York Yankees 22-0 on 22 hits, as they beat up Javier Vasquez. The 1-1 on the way from Rodriguez. Big curveball, strike 2, and the count now 1-2. So the Cleveland Browns, hoping they can manage scores like that this year, as the Red Sox will pick up a game and now be only 3.5 back of the Yankees. The pitch from Rodriguez misses low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Good heavens, 22-0. That's a bad night for if you're a Yankees fan. The pitch outside, ball 3. And Nelson has come back to now lead the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Baltimore and Tampa Bay are tied at 5 as they head to the bottom of the 10th. The pitch on the way from Rodriguez. High fly ball lifted into right field. Going back is J.R. Renz. He's in front of the warning track, and he'll gather it in. A towering shot, but not deep enough. It caught a little bit of the wind and carried. But good job by Renz to stay with it. And there are now 2 out in the 6th. That'll bring Ryan Fox to the plate. The catcher 0 for 2, a strikeout, and a fly out to center field back in the 4th inning. Oakland and Chicago are heading into the top of the 9th with Oakland on top 7-1. They're playing that at U.S. Cellular Field. Detroit and Kansas City are in the top of the 7th with the Tigers on top 7-5. And in the top of the 8th, Minnesota and Texas are tied at 5. As the pitch from Rodriguez misses outside and low. Ball 1. We'll be joined in the 7th inning by Brett Crane, as he shakes his head no, but I'll find a way to get him over here. Pitch on the way from Rodriguez. This is inside, ball 2. So some surprising scores in the American League as the American League East race heats up. Here's the 2-0 from Rodriguez. Up high, ball 3. and Fox now well ahead in the count, 3-0. We head to the National League, where the Expos de Montréal, took care of the Chicago Cubs 8-0 today at the Big O Olympic Stadium, and the pitches swung on and fouled on the first base line out of play, 3-1. Livan Hernandez gets the win. Mark Pryor takes the loss, as the Cubs are held to only 3 hits. And Brad Wilkerson hits his 26th home run of the season. That young man is certainly making noise north of the border. Atlanta takes care of a disappointing Philadelphia team 5-3, as Rodriguez catches the corner with the 3-1 pitch. Ryan Fox had already taken 3 or 4 steps towards first base, instead has to come back and battle a 3-2 count. Fernie eyes home plate, gets his sign from Duff. Starts to wind up the pitch on the way. Big breaking ball that just misses down low. And Rodriguez sends Fox to first base. So an indication of his control tonight. That's his first walk, and we're in the 6th inning. Walks, of course, being the Achilles heel of the Angels pitching staff this year. They've been at times dominant. The times that they struggle, it's when they walk batters, as Rodriguez works all the way into the 6th before walking his first. The pitch to Mike Davies misses down low, ball 1. Houston beats Cincinnati 8-0 as they continue to roll. They are a very hot team right now in the NL Central. And in the wild card, Florida beat New York 5-0. The pitch is swung on and foul tipped. Duff holds on for strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 runner on, 2 out. In the top of the 6th, the Angels on top 2-0 on a very comfortable Tuesday evening in Provo, Utah. And a great crowd here at Larry H. Miller Field to catch all the action. Rodriguez comes set, looks over his shoulder, nods, and the pitch on the way is fouled back over our heads. And the count moves to 1-2. As I said, Florida beat New York 5-0. Pittsburgh and Milwaukee in the top of the 7th, with the Brewers on top 4-2. St. Louis is beating San Diego 7-3 in the bottom of the 8th. And Arizona and Los Angeles are scoreless as they head to the top of the 4th. The pitch on the way the runner goes, it's fouled off the shin of Wilson. And Davies, and Fox will have to head back to first base. Count remains at 1-2. Angels right now clinging to a 2-0 lead. The Rockies trying to get things going in the top of the 6th. And they have lost 2 in a row and would like to avoid losing 3. The Angels have won just 1 in a row. 1 in a row. I don't think you can just win 1 in a row. But would like to make that 2 in a row. Fernie gets the sign to pitch on the way. He misses outside with a curveball. 2-2. And now the breeze blowing from center field in, as we can feel it here in the press box. And the last score in the National League, Colorado and San Francisco just underway. They are scoreless. Rodriguez comes set. The pitch on the way is instead over to first base as Fox dives back in safely. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Deuces wild with a runner on here in the top of the 6th. The pitch on the way the runner goes, and it's fouled back over our head, and Fox will have to head back to first base. As a catcher, I'm sure he's not used to running this much. Is that an unfair statement? I never was a catcher. I just always remembered our catchers didn't run as much as we did. So, if there's any catchers out there that disagree, please let me know, and I apologize in advance if I've offended you. Here's the 2-2 on the way. The pitch is swung on and missed, strike 3. So Rodriguez, a timely 7th strikeout as he gets out of the 6th inning. We head into the bottom of the 6th. The Angels up 2-0. And we'll be back with more Angels baseball on SportsJuice.com.
Hey fans, be sure to pick up a copy of the 2004 Season Program while you're here. It has over $200 worth of valuable coupons inside. back to the souvenir shop to pick one up now for only $1. And while you're at the souvenir shop, you'll find great late season specials on Angels merchandise. And the next time you are in the shower, wash your car, water your lawn, or use your toilet. So remember our friends at Oregon City Department of Public Works Water Resources Division, who encourages all to conserve water. And you should check your manufacturer now for a great coupon from your friends at Hobie Yogi. Hobie Yogi is the home of fabulous new milkshakes with a taste so big they had to engineer a straw to match. You'll also find a coupon on your ticket, or you can buy one signature Hobie Yogi sandwich at a 20-ounce serving and receive a second sandwich free. And that ticket could also be your ticket to win a trip to Disneyland from Deseret First Credit Union. This homestand is your last chance to enter. Just bring your ticket stub from Science Gate to the Deseret First Credit Union at 337 North 6th Street in Orem. The winning family will be selected Wednesday, September 8th at the Provo Angels home playoff game. Also that game, Deseret First Credit Union will be giving away $500. Call 226-0900 for more details. And remember, Deseret First Credit Union is serving your family and sharing your value. Now, leading off morning Angels.
We officially find ourselves in a pitcher's duel here at Larry H. Miller Field. And Steve Edsel still on the hill for the Rockies here in the bottom of the sixth. He'll face off against Nate Sutton, Sean Rodriguez, and Caleb Mayer. Sutton 1 for 2. He singled and scored back in the first on Rodriguez's base hit up the middle. The pitch on the way, taken down low, ball 1. Sutton from the left side, as I mentioned earlier tonight, with his socks up high. Trying to bust out of a little bit of a slump as he checks his swing. But still went around. 1 ball and 1 strike down the count. So Angels watching intently to see what happens between Ogden and Idaho Falls, as it most likely will mean who they will face in the first round of the Pioneer League playoffs. The pitch down low to Sutton is digging for ball 2, and he now looks at a fastball in the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, Casper still has a very outside chance, but not likely. As the pitch is grounded to Dragicevic, she's up with it and throws to first. Sutton is now down 1 for 3 on the night. As Dragicevic handles the play with ease. Sean Rodriguez 1 for 2. He singled in Sutton back in the first. Responsible for the first RBI of the night, and he flew out to the right fielder Justin Nelson back in the 4th inning. Edsel hits his sign, starts his windup, and he misses outside and low, ball 1. So you see tonight the potential that this tall right-hander has for the Rockies as he delivers an off-speed pitch, 1-1 now to count. And certainly what they had in mind to help the Rockies out as they brought him down from Tri-Cities. He's got the build of a guy that can really throw. Tall and thin, throws relatively hard. He misses outside, ball 2. That's why they come down to this level to work on those kinks. He delivers a big breaking ball. And the count now even at 2-2. So Angels fans who came expecting fireworks, especially considering what happened against Billings in the last 4 games. Catching instead a pitcher's duel as Rodriguez looks at ball 3 outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out to Sean Rodriguez. The Angels lead 2-0, 2 runs on 4 hits. And the Rockies no runs on 5 hits. The pitch on the way. Taken inside for strike 3 as Rodriguez, upset a little bit with the call, kind of shakes his head. But he'll head back to the dugout as the second out here in the 6th. And Caleb Mayer, as Edsel picks up his 4th strikeout of the night, come to the plate. He is 1 for 2, extending his reaching base safely streak to 21 games. And if Larry's listening, I'd like to thank him for providing that information. The pitch is lifted into center field as Steve Boggs takes about 10 steps back and gathers it in. So the Angels once again go down in order in the sixth. They lead 2-0 as we head to the top of the seventh. You're listening to Provo Angels Baseball and Zach Frazier on SportsJuice.com.
Hey, man, if you're sitting in a seat here at Larry's Silver Field, now is your chance to win. Legends Grill is the newest restaurant at BYU campus. It's located in the new student-athlete building, the FAB, across from the Smith Fieldhouse. And sitting under one of the seats here at Larry's Silver Field right now is a gift certificate to Legends Grill. Everyone check under your seats for your chance to win. Legends Grill is open to the public, and you can enjoy great food and sports on the big screen TV. Congratulations to that gentleman over there in the cap. Who's going to give you a call while it's called in the bullpen? Now on the mound for the Angels is number 14, Bill Edwards. Remember, give me a call at 27 West Center Street in Orem, assuming all of your wireless needs. And they all did to get their hits in for the 7th-inning stretch. That's coming up the next half inning, so please report to Portal C. Kids, if you have your hits in for the 7th-inning stretch, please report to Portal C. If you didn't take your next hits and participate tonight, remember to visit the hit services booth at your next game. Hey man, now that we have a new pitcher, please give Fernando Rodriguez a big hand for 6 shutout innings.
So we head to the top of the seventh. The Angels up 2-0 as super reliever Bill Edwards comes out of the bullpen to take over for Fernando Rodriguez. Rodriguez going 6 complete innings, scattering 5 hits, striking out 7, and only walking 1. Edwards facing off against Kyle Wilson, delivers a fastball that catches the inside corner, 0-1. So one of the more dominant pitching performances we've seen out of an Angels starter this year, as Wilson chases a pitch out of the strike zone. Nasty slider as it tails away from the right-handed batter. No balls and 2 strikes. And it'll be pitching like that that'll carry the Angels into the playoffs. The pitch is grounded down the third base line and foul. Wilson coming to the plate, 0 for 2 on the night, a strikeout victim of Rodriguez. And he popped up to Billy Boyer back in the 4th, ending a Rockies threat. He grounds the ball to Nate Sutton at 3rd. He'll pick it up on 2 hops, fire across the bag, and he's out by about a dozen feet. Wilson goes down 5-3 to start things off here in the 7th, as Trevor Allen will come to the plate. Allen 1 for 2. He reached on a single to lead off the 5th inning, but was picked off on a great snap throw by Tim Duff, which to the Duff family, I apologize for not calling. I was talking to Mr. Stoneman at the time. As Allen checks his swing, the curveball is outside, but Allen did go all the way around. No balls and 1 strike. Edwards just misses the inside corner, 1-1. Edwards, right now, one of the league leaders in wins, 3rd with 6. He has a 6-1 record, a 2.88 ERA. And the pitch is blooped into right field. J.R. Renz will come on, and he'll make the play in shallow right. Good read by Renz as the ball kind of squibbed off the end of Allen's bat. 2 out now as Steve Boggs will head to the plate. He has walked 11, struck out 22, and opponents are hitting only .222 against him. Definitely a ground ball pitcher. The pitch from Edwards misses outside, ball 1. If you look at his lefty-righty stats, you can see how many ground balls he's pitched. Pitch bounces away from Duff, low and inside. For ball 2. 2-0 to Boggs. Boggs 1 for 2. He grounded out to Boyer at second and picked up a single back in the 5th. The pitch on the way to 2-0 just does miss the outside corner, and the count runs to 3-0. So he's pitched 38 ground ball outs this year, which is good for a reliever in as few of innings as he's seen. Boggs takes ball 4, so Edwards walks Steve Boggs with 2 outs at the top of the 7th. So the Rockies have the runner on base here with 2 out, and Bruce Baldwin to the plate. Baldwin 1 for 2, has hit the ball hard twice, picked up a single in the 3rd inning, and lined out to Mike Hughes in left field. He swings and fouls the pitch back to the screen for strike 1. So he's 1 for 2 on the night. Edwards looks in, gets his side from Duff. Edwards comes set. The pitch on the way. Swung and grounded back weakly to the pitcher, just out of his reach. Nate Sutton will run over and make a great play as he throws on the run to beat the speedy Baldwin. And the Angels continue to hold the Rockies without any runs. Baldwin goes down 5-3 to end the 7th. We'll head to the bottom of the 7th with the Angels up 2-0. You're listening to Zach Frazier and Provo Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com.
Mosquito. Now on the mound for the Rockies is number 7, Juan Mosquito. Remember, give me a call wireless is at 27 West Never Street in Orem, serving all of your wireless needs.
Welcome back to Provo Angels Baseball. This is Zach Frazier bringing you all the action in 2004. Cliff Remley will start things off here in the bottom of the 7th as we find ourselves in the midst of a pitching duel. Steve Edsel pitched very well, going 6 innings, giving up only 2 runs on 4 hits. and his Rockies did not commit an error. New pitcher on the mound for the Rockies will face off against Remley. He fires a strike over the outside corner, 0-1. The new man on the mound for the Casper team, Juan Mosqueda, no record on the year, 9.64 ERA as Remley fouls the pitch back over the third base grandstand and out of play, 0-2. He's only seen action in 9 1/3 innings, has walked 9, struck out 7, and opponents hitting .350 against him. He's a native of Miranda, Venezuela. As Remley takes the pitch up high, 1-2. He was signed as a free agent in 1999. He looks in, gets his sign, the 1-2. Nice job by Remley just to fight it off the end of his bat. And that pitch looked like it was going to be strike 3. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night as we'll take on these very same Casper Rockies and then hit the road to take on these very same Casper Rockies in Casper on Thursday night. The pitch on the way misses the inside corner, and the count is now 2-2. Remley will be followed by catcher Tim Duff and right fielder J.R. Renz. Mosqueda comes set. The pitch on the way. Grounded to the shortstop Dragicevic. He'll scoop it up and across the base. Ball diamond to first baseman Mike Davies to retire Remley 6-3. So the 3 groundouts on the night for Clifton. That'll bring Tim Duff 0 for 2 on the night. As Duffman will come to the plate. Duff struck out looking in his first at bat back in the second and flew out to the left fielder. Almost picking up a home run, just missing by about 3 or 4 feet back in the fifth. He looks at ball 1 low and away. We head back to the Pioneer League to see what the action is at McDermott Field. Mosqueda set. The pitch on the way is lifted into right field down the line, but drifting foul as there all of a sudden is a stiff breeze blowing from left to right as that ball was pushed foul by the wind. They are now tied at McDermott Field, 3-3 as they head to the top of the fifth. Duff settles in, back on the right side of the batter's box and asks for time as Mosqueda takes his sweet time on the pitcher's mound. Most of the crowd sticking around tonight. The game's moved relatively quickly. The pitch from the right-hander misses down low, and the count is now 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Angels up 2-0. In a rare pitcher's duel in the Pioneer League. Mosqueda eyes home plate, gets his sign, and the pitch is lifted into shallow right field. Bruce Baldwin will go back. He'll be called off by Justin Nelson as the ball continues to sky and finally drops down for out number 2. As J.R. Renz 0 for 2 on the night will step to the plate. Renz is grounded to the second baseman Baldwin. Back in the second inning, he struck out swinging in the 5th. Steve Edsel also had 5 strikeouts on the night. So, much different performance than what Edsel delivered a couple weeks ago here in Provo. And Renz fouls the pitch back to the screen as it just barely does catch the cable wire holding the screen up. Otherwise, our sound guy and PA guy would have been dead. The ball was rifled back and was headed right towards the press box. We like our sound guy and PA guys, so we don't want them dead. No balls, 1 strike. Renz looks at ball 1, low and away. Renz at one point in time in this season was a league leader in doubles and RBIs as Seen that drop off a bit. But it's still a very productive bat in the Angels lineup. Looks at ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike to Renz. 2 out in the bottom of the 7th. The Rockies outfield shaded towards left field. Pitch misses inside, and the count is now 3-1. Michael Hughes in the on-deck circle. He'll be followed by Billy Boyer. Of course, Hughes and Boyer combined to give the Angels another run back in the 5th. Pitch on the way. This is down low and inside, and Renz will head to first base with a 2-out walk. So Mike Hughes, who is 0 for 1 on the night, grounded out to short in the 3rd, was hit by the pitch in the 5th and came around the score on Billy Boyer's RBI triple. His little pre-at-bat routine is set. He steps into the batter's box. And he's ready to go. Mosqueda also set, comes in the set position. The pitch is grounded down the third baseline, foul. Third baseman Kyle Wilson gives chase, but he knows it's foul, so he just gives up. No balls, 1 strike, 2 out. Angels have a runner at first in the form of J.R. Renz. Mike Hughes at the plate. Mosqueda set, the pitch on the way. This is down low, ball 1. Be sure to also visit ProvoAngels.com for all your Provo Angels gear. The Provo Angels store, there is some highly discounted items. I just picked up a pair of ball caps for $12 a piece. The pitch is fouled back and it catches a portion of the press box. That shattering glass that you hear is not real. It's just a sound effect. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 out. Michael Hughes from the right side of the plate facing off against Juan Mosqueda. Mosqueda set the pitch on the way. A curveball pulled to the left side. Dragicevic, a nice backhand play across the diamond to beat him by a fraction of a step. Nice play by shortstop Dragicevic to end the 7th inning. We head to the top of the 8th. The Angels clinging to a 2-0 lead. You're listening to Zach Frazier and Provo Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com.
For the Rockies is the designated hitter, number 6, Chris Nelson.
Leading off for the Rockies in the top of the 8th, leadoff hitter, designated hitter Chris Nelson. He looks at a big breaking ball for ball one from Bill Edwards. Nelson 0 for 3 on the night. Edwards came in the seventh, taking over for Fernando Rodriguez. Was able to keep the Rockies off the board. This time a curveball catches the outside corner, and it is now 1-1. So Fernando Rodriguez went 6 strong innings. The 1-1 is swung on and fouled back, popped up directly over our heads. And Nelson is behind 1-2. Nelson struck out in the first. He flew out to right field in the third and grounded out to Remley at first base in the fifth. The 1-2 is lifted into the gap in right center field. Going back to the wall is Giannotti. That's going to fall for an extra base hit. Billy Boyer takes the relay throw, and Nelson leads the inning off with a double. That'll bring Jeff Dragisevich to the plate. So the Angels 2-0 lead in the eighth. Certainly not as many runs as they'd like to have scored. They've been held to 4 hits tonight, so Rockies pitching coming through, but Angels taking advantage of 2 situations. One with runner in scoring position, and Billy Boyer coming up with a big triple back in the fifth. Bill Edwards will face off against Dragisevich, and he delivers a fastball that catches the inside corner, strike one. The Rockies with 6 hits now. They've been frustrated at the plate as far as scoring runs is concerned. The 0-1 on the way, the delivery, curveball fouled back over the first base dugout of the Rockies and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes now to Dragisevich. Dragisevich 1 for 3, struck out in the first, singled in the fourth, and lined out to Giannotti in center back in the sixth. The 0-2 just misses the outside corner, and the count is now 1-2. Angels pitchers right now with 7 strikeouts, all of them to Rodriguez. Here's the 1-2, misses outside as the ball skips away from Duff. Not far enough away, though, as Duff recovers quickly. Nice job by Toomey to hustle after that. And Nelson is still at second base. Dragisevich now with a 2-2 count. So we'll go back to the Pioneer League scores at ProvoAngels.com. Still 3-3 again in the top of the fifth. The pitch on the way, high and tight, ball 3. After falling behind 0-2, Dragisevich has worked the count full in his favor. As Bill Edwards will look to fight back. Edwards was visited by his family this past week. Had a chance to meet them, and it was a pleasure meeting them. They got home safely. The 3-2 on the way, grounded to the second baseman, Billy Boyer. He'll have just 1 play, and that's at first. So Dragisevich does his job, moves the runner over, is retired 4-3 for the first out here in the eighth. That'll bring Justin Nelson, the right fielder, to the plate. 0 for 3 on the night for Nelson. He flew out to right field in the first. He struck out looking in the fourth, and again to right field in the sixth. The Rockies coming off of a very long bus trip from Helena, Montana. Not an opportunity to stop home as Edwards just misses the outside corner, 1-0. One of the things you learn in the Pioneer League is how to play with very little sleep and after arriving on a long bus ride. The 1-0 is lifted into right field, going back to the wall. Turns J.R. Renz around. He reaches up and snags it. A run will score. But J.R. Renz pulls a base hit away from Justin Nelson, an extra base hit. He does a good job sticking with that ball. It looked a little bit like a ballerina pirouetting around. But he found his footing and made the catch up against the wall. So Nelson flies out to right field for the third time tonight. He does pick up a sacrifice fly RBI. Now there are 2 outs in the inning. So the shutout is gone. Angels still maintain the lead 2-1. Zeke Zimmerman is out visiting with Bill Edwards. Make sure that things are okay with him. And certainly discussing strategy on what to do with Ryan Fox. Fox has struck out swinging. He flew out to center field in the 4th and reached on a walk in the 6th. Remember, Angels trading cards will be available September 8th. For information and for ordering after the 6th of September, call 1-801-377-BALL. Ask to talk to Ryan Pace. Ryan Fox steps in, 0 for 2 on the night with a walk. The pitch from Edwards misses inside and low, ball 1. So the Rockies have come back with a run here in the 8th. Now trail 2-1. Edwards misses down low, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 out. The pitch, broken bat, bloop. Line drive to Sean Rodriguez. The top half of Fox's bat went almost as far as the ball did. And the Rockies pick up a run here in the 8th. They now trail 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. The Angels will look to add a couple more insurance runs to give the Angels the victory. Head to the bottom of the 8th. You're listening to Angels Baseball on SportsJuice.com.
They're successful. Now want a pair of movies from the Daily Herald. Okay, Molly, line it up and give it a good rest. A nice one, well out in the field. Now it's his turn. Here's the most important thing. Is to put the ball in the air. Now on the mound for the Rockies is number 51, Rafael Sanchez. Remember, even the call wireless is 27 West Center Street, New York, and they can serve all of your wireless needs.
We get set here in the bottom of the 8th. Billy Boyer will lead things off, followed by the top of the order, Richard Giannotti and Nate Sutton. The Rockies have a new pitcher on the mound as Juan Mosqueda does his job, not allowing any more runs. Rafael Sanchez comes on with an 0-1 record, an 8.10 ERA, and 33 1/3 innings worked. He's walked 20, struck out 26, opponents hitting .333 against him. So 3 pitchers tonight, one with an opponent's batting average of .500, another with an opponent's batting average of .350, and now .333 on the hill. The Angels have only managed 4 hits as they have forgotten to bring their Louisville Sluggers. I don't know. But a key hit on the night was by this man, Billy Boyer, as he steps into the batter's box, 1 for 2 with an RBI triple, which now represents the go-ahead run as he pulls the ball down the first base line. Mike Davies, a nice backhand play to retire Boyer. 3 unassisted. There's now 1 out in the inning for Richard Giannotti. Giannotti 0 for 3 on the night. Rafael Sanchez, free agent signee in 2001, is a native of San Juan, Dominican Republic. Richard Giannotti takes ball 1 inside. Giannotti still from the left side of the plate against the array of right-handers brought on by the Colorado Rocky affiliate Casper Rockies. The 1-0 misses outside. Ball 2. Be sure to go online and vote as to what you think our new name should be as we get set to move to Utah Valley State College next year in our new stadium, Parkway Crossing Stadium. At ProvoAngels.com, you can voice your opinion as Giannotti takes the ball down low, 3-0. Sanchez gets set to 3-0. Right over the plate as Giannotti was taking all the way. And the count moves to 3-1. 2 runs on 4 hits and no errors for the Angels. 1 run on 6 hits and no errors for the Rockies. Sanchez again fires a fastball, strike 2. And he battles back to make the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, 3-2-1 across the board. The Angels have action in their bullpen. Fred Carney up throwing, as well as Kyle Pawalczak. We know Pawalczak's family is listening in. They sent a nice email tonight. As Giannotti swings and misses, strike 3, he goes down swinging for the second time this evening. And that'll bring Nate Sutton into the game. And up to the plate, Sutton 1 for 3 with a run scored back in the first. His 2 groundouts to go with his run-scoring single. We're in the bottom of the 8th. The Angels clinging to a 2-1 lead. The pitch from Sanchez, taken up high, ball 1. Good portion of the crowd sticking around tonight to see the exciting conclusion of tonight's pitcher's duel. The pitch is lined into right field for a 2-out base hit, so Sutton picks up his second base knock of the night. Now stands at first base with Sean Rodriguez coming to the plate. Rodriguez drove in Sutton back in the first, where the first run of the game is 1 for 3 on the night. He also has a fly out to right field. And he struck out looking back in the 6th. So Rafael Sanchez gets his side. The 6-2 righty pitch out on the way, and Sutton is gunned down at second base. So the Angels' 8th inning ends with Sutton being caught stealing. And we'll head to the top of the 9th. The Angels on top 2-1. And Bill Edwards will hustle back out. He'll be on the mound for the Angels to start things off. You're listening to Zach Frazier and Provo Angels Baseball at SportsJuice.com. Find themselves in a rare position, a pitcher's duel. They cling to a 2-1 lead. Mike Davies will lead things off for the Rockies against Bill Edwards. The pitch is outside, ball 1. Davies, followed by Kyle Wilson and Trevor Allen. The Angels can't go to ace closer Mitch Arnold as he came in last night. And so can't pitch on back-to-back nights, especially this close to the playoffs. Davies takes the pitch over the plate for strike one. The 1-1 on the way. Swing and a miss. He actually got a little piece of it. But the situation's still the same. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2 on the way. High pop fly to left field. Mike Hughes will run over to left center and gather it in for the first out of the inning.
Third baseman, number 34, Kyle Wilson.
So it'll bring Kyle Wilson to the plate. Wilson also 0 for 3 on the night. Struck out swinging, popped up to Billy Boyer at second base, and grounded out to Nate Sutton at third. The pitch on the way, grounded to Sean Rodriguez. He plays the high hop on to first, and the Rockies are down to their last out. Their last potential out will be Trevor Allen. Allen 1 for 3 with a single.
Number 49, Trevor Allen.
So to the plate, he represents the potential tying run, but also the last opportunity for the Rockies. Edwards starts his windup, and a curveball catches the inside corner for strike one. So a very exciting game here tonight, as we are now in the top of the ninth. The Angels up 2-1. Here's the pitch from Edwards. Up high, he checks his swing, did not go around. Says the field umpire, and the count is now even at 1 apiece. 1 ball, 1 strike. Edwards from the windup, the pitch on the way. Fastball catches the outside corner for strike 2. And we're going to take a brief pause. 1 ball, 2 strikes.